artworks today. So we're going to have to use some imagination when it comes to things like taste or feel or sound, right? But I think we can do that, all right? The best thing about art is, guess what? What? There's no wrong answers.
Yay!
Yeah, isn't that cool? That's why I love art.
I'm losing myself.
Okay, now the other thing we're going to be doing besides observation is we're going to be thinking a little bit about skill development. And I'm going to just point these out now, and at the end, I want us to think a little bit about how we did this. But these are what we call the 4 super skills. These are the skills that employers, things like people like that want in the 21st century person. Makes you a bright 21st century person. And it's not how many facts you can stick in your head. It's how well you can communicate, how well you can collaborate, how well you can think critically, and how creative you are. Okay, so those aren't things that you just stuff in your head. They're things that you do and you practice. So that's what we're going to be doing today. All right, so we will get started. And can I have the person in the back turn out the lights, because I think it'll be a little easier to see it that way. Excellent. Okay. So I want you to just take a moment to look at this artwork. We are using artworks from the Beach Museum of Art. They're all by Kansas artists, pretty much, or of Kansas. Use your observation skills. And let's just kind of start out with what's going on in this picture. Okay, they're in the back.
Well, there's a bunch of birds flying in a field.
Okay, so you've noticed that there are a bunch of birds flying over a field.
It looks like there's going to have a storm in the field.
Okay, you have observed that it looks like there's going to be a storm in the field. And what do you see that makes you think that there's going to be a storm?
Clouds and like how the wind is pushing the grass.
Okay, so the clouds up here, and also perhaps the wind pushing the grass. What more can we find? A whole bunch of hands earlier.
There's like different colors of grass.
Okay, so you've noticed that there's different colors in the grass, that it's not just monochromatic, that there's many colors. What more can we find?
Different varieties of flowers.
Okay, so maybe even some different varieties of flowers. And we know that a prairie has flora and fauna, so maybe different types of things. Do I see a hand back there? I thought I saw a hand back here. Yes.
Well, there's an animal in the middle.
Okay, so you're noticing that maybe there's an animal in the middle of this. So what do you see that makes you think that? Go ahead.
The dog.
You think it might
The
be a dog?
spots.
Oh, the dots.
Spots.
The dots, okay. So that these dots look like maybe the camouflage on an animal? Okay.
Things maybe like the colorful birds. You can't remember what they're called. And how the feathers.
Oh, these might be feathers. Are you thinking of pheasants maybe?
No, not pheasant. Like the peacock.
Oh, peacocks? Okay. Pheasants are really colorful too. They might be more native to them. Oh, that pheasants are kind of tiny like these birds, so this looks like it might be larger. Okay, good. What more can you find? Yes.
There's kind of like a body beside the feather, like on the other side, right there.
Okay. So there's something here that maybe looks, oh, like a body here or a shadow of a body?
Like lower, like right. No, like right beside the feathers.
Right beside the feathers, okay.
Yeah, but not as high.
Down in here?
Yeah.
Okay. So that there might be a body down in here. Are you thinking a human body?
No.
No. So it might be some sort of an animal? Maybe, okay. What more can we find? Yes.
I think I see like turkey feathers right there on all the birds.
So maybe some turkey feathers.
Let's see.
What can we find? Okay, so, what? Okay, so you've noticed that there's a tree, so you're going clear back here in the background and you've noticed a tree.
I think there's cotton or something behind the birds.
Oh, here?
Yeah, and yeah,
Oh, that the plants might be cotton. What do you see that makes you think that?
the white sprouts.
Okay, all right. So that whatever is back here has sort of a white fuzzy stuff on top. What more can we find? I see you guys still thinking. So what I'd like you to do is to take this and use it kind of as a story starter. And you can do this one of two ways. How many of you like to draw? Okay, if you like to draw, you could either draw what came before, more of what's happening on here, something I can't see, or what's happening next, or if you would rather write, you could write about that. So let's think about this as part of a story. And use your journals, and you can use the gel markers. And go ahead and either make a picture or jot down some sentences, doesn't have to be long, about what's going on in the story. Let's continue that creative, imaginative idea just a little bit more.
Does anybody need a little bit more light, or is there enough coming in? I heard. Raise your hand if you need more light. Okay. Let me see. Did that help, Roscoe?
Nope.
Nope. All right.
We'll just go back and forth. So just open up your notebook, and you can choose whether you want to write it, whether you want to draw it. But let's think about this story. It could be what came before, what comes after. It could be something that came into your head that nobody else thought of. You can add things to it. If it's what came before or what comes after, maybe there are things that happen that we can't see in this painting. Some of you were seeing things in the grasses that nobody else was seeing. You could draw that. Let's take a picture of the backs of your foots. As you're looking further, did anybody see anything else they wanted to share that they've noticed as they look further? Yeah.
I think it kind of looks like there's a pink feather right there on the ball.
Here?
No. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, there's a lot of almost like camouflagey stuff, isn't there? It's hard to tell the difference between feathers flowers and grasses, and which of course is why birds have all those feathers with all those spots on it, right?
Actually, if I look in the middle, it kind of looks like a stream, and then those spots are rocks.
Okay, so this could be more of a stream in here, and those are rocks. So the more you look, the more you see, right?
The possible animal in the middle, I think it's like jaguar or something. And it's looking for prey.
Okay, so based on sort of those spots there, maybe looking for prey. Good. All right. Okay, another minute, and then I'll show you what this is called, and we'll go on and try something else. Can I get a back person to do the lights for me again?
Kaylin is our light person.
Our light
Said
person?
she'd be okay with that?
Okay, excellent. Okay, so this is called Blackbirds, and it's by Robert Sudlow. And the interesting thing about all these artworks that we're looking at is they're all Kansas artworks. And that's going to connect to what you do Wednesday in science.
Is it?
Is it kind of like, I know I've seen a movie with an artist like take a picture and then
Well, close. This artist actually doesn't even take pictures. What he does is he actually sits outside and paints outside. So he was a really unique artist because he liked to do it actually outside. Okay. So, yes.
How would it work though if the bird were flying and it was windy? How would you get it?
That's a good question. I guess he probably just sort of maybe caught the birds when they were doing that and sort of added them in. But I think they call them plein air painters, and they really like to paint outdoors right in the setting. They might have to go back several days to do it and things like that. But it looked kind of, his technique was kind of rough, and so maybe that's part of it, is that he does it really fast. So let's try something a little bit different. And you guys probably recognize this from science class, right? Physical attributes? Okay, now let's think about it. Size, color, shape, number, texture, smell, taste, temperature. Are those things that we use in observation? Yeah, they are, aren't they? Okay, so science uses a lot of observation. We're going to take that observation from science and we're going to apply it to a painting. So instead of sort of thinking what's going on, we're going to change gears a little bit. And in language arts, we call these words adjectives. Most of the time, okay? We know what those are, right? Okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to take another painting. And we are going to generate a list of descriptive words for that painting. And we want those words to be as exciting as possible. Okay, I call them dollar words instead of nickel words. And while we're doing this, you might jot down some of the ones that you really like. And we'll talk about why a writer might do that. Okay, so here's the painting. And what we'll do this time is I'd like to see, let's see, there's 25 of you. Okay, we're going to come up with 25 words. So I'm going to give you a minute, and then we're just going to go, and if you really can't think of a word, say pass. Okay? So I'm going to just go up and down the rows, and we'll see if we can generate 25 descriptive attributes. Now, let me just mention, of course we can't really taste this, right? Or hear it. But you could use your imagination, couldn't you? So you might imagine what you would hear, or imagine what you would smell, okay? So that's fair game. And just on a page of your book, go ahead and jot down those words. Okay, we'll start here. Okay, jungly. Okay, jungly. Remember, we want to try to make them adjectives, so we can make jungly.
Unique.
Unique. Okay.
Hang on.
Like colorful.
Colorful. Absolutely, that's a great one.
It's like a lake, so wet.
Wet. Yeah. The lake, so this would be wet. So there you're getting into sense of touch. Good.
Breathtaking.
Breathtaking. Very nice word. All right, you've heard of Purple Mountain Majesties, okay? Think of our figurative language. We're gonna get into that in a little bit. Okay, next.
I'll say sun.
Sunny, yeah. I mean, it's bright and sunny. And don't forget onomatopoeia words. Those might come into this too. Good.
Warm.
Warm, okay? Yeah, I think it looks warm, at least out on, if you're not in the water. Good. Pass, okay.
Beautiful.
Beautiful. Okay. Over here. Calm, nice, nice.
Kind of like the reflection. Just like the
Okay.
reflection of the water.
Reflecting, reflective, mirror-like. Yeah, good.
I was thinking it was like humid there.
Okay, it might be humid. We've got sort of that growth in the water. Good. So that gets into another sense. Bright. Good.
Hilly.
Hilly. Good. All right.
Rocky.
Rocky. Yeah, we've got sort of this combination of the rocks and the green. Good.
Majestic.
Okay, we had that one. See if we can come up. How about an onomatopoeia word? What would it sound like? I'm going to just challenge you. Okay, how would mountains sound? What would some sounds be that you would hear? This is where we have to use our imagination or our creativity a little bit.
Boom.
Booms, okay. Yeah, okay. Soothing, very nice. Cool. Cool. Peaceful. Mountainous, okay. Three more, and then we'll have people, I know there's some that have come up with some new ones, but let's do these last two first.
These are cool. Yeah, it's okay. Awesome.
Awesome. Okay. A forest. Okay. So what are some words that you could use to describe a forest? Maybe how it smells? What is for smell? Or sound? Think about it. Okay, last one.
Vegetation.
Vegetation, okay. All right, a couple of you had some extra ones here.
Cold.
Cold,
Tropical.
tropical,
It's like damp. Like it's like really humid and like all in the jungle. Like there's this jungle that's kind of like wet and everything. Insightful.
okay. I know some in the back.
It kind of like smells like earthy.
Smells earthy, good. Somebody got a smell in there finally, yay. Okay, now, we have this long list. What could you do with that as a writer? What would these be good for?
Can you put it in the story?
Could put it into a story, or especially, I think, poetry. Because poetry really relies on descriptive words. So, some sort of creative story or poetry. And this is by an artist from Lindsborg, Kansas. His name is Roger Sanzane. This is the Smoky Hill River Valley. So this is another Kansas scene. Good. Okay. We'll keep going. Everybody knows what this is? What are we going to do? And?
Probably compare the two pictures.
Yep, compare and contrast two pictures. And I apologize, I wish these pictures were a lot bigger. So when I show them to you, I'm going to just point out a couple of things that are harder to see because they're not as big as I'd like them to be. So first of all, there's a little tiny windmill here. It's really hard to see, but I think you can see the houses. Back here, there's a little farm. Do you see that? Sort of. I know, it's really hard to see. I'm sorry. I wish I could do the great big. And then there's also some sort of little animal in here, maybe a coyote or something. Okay, so
That looks like the. Looks like it's on fire.
Okay. So here's what we're gonna do. Do you wanna start out with the things that are the same or the things that are different?
So I make a circle in this one.
Yeah, make your Venn diagram with that overlapping circle. I'll show you again.
Oh, whoops.
Make one of these. Okay, and so the similarities are going in the center, right? Okay. Okay, who wants to start? Okay.
This thing, or for both, yeah.
Okay, both of them have a sense of sunlight in them. Good.
Ooh.
A lot of times people will immediately say, this one's sunny, but there's a lot of light and sunlight in this one too. Good.
They both have the farm.
They both have the farm. What else do you think is the same?
I was gonna say different.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
Okay, on the top one, it's warm, and more green, and the bottom one's more like winterish, cold.
Okay, so we've got winter cold, summer warm, green, that contrast between the two times of the year. And that has a lot of different things that could go with it, right? Good.
They're both cloudy, and then see how that right there is like, there's like two hills, yeah, like that. It kind of looks like a road, like that one.
Oh, good job. All right, two things. First of all, they both have clouds in them as well as the sun. But I love what you noticed here is in almost exactly the same place on the two paintings. There's sort of this little entranceway. This one looks sort of natural. This one looks like a little bit of a road. But notice how they're right at the same spot, those two paintings. Excellent, good eye, good eye. All right, and then I like the idea of seeing the sun and the clouds together. That's a really neat thing to notice, that they're both sunny, they're both cloudy. All right, good. Anybody else have something that they notice? Yeah.
They're both like a kind of like fluff texture.
You mean in like the grasses and stuff like that? Is that what you're saying? Yeah. So you can see that there are grasses here under the snow, that there's the grass texture here.
Where the horizon is, it's green on both sides and it's like,
Okay.
yeah.
So there's a sort of a center light
No,
source. Yep, and then there's a center light source here.
No, it's like green, dark green, and then it's like green.
Okay, and how do we
Where the
compare or
sun's at.
contrast it with this?
It's not.
What?
It's not.
Okay.
It's dark blue right there.
Okay, so this one has a light source reflected down here in the ground, and this one doesn't. How about that? Does that make? Okay, good. All right, good. Okay.
I think it's the same picture, but like different years.
Okay. So same picture, different times of year, different years, and going.
Possibly the same place, but from a different angle.
Okay. Very good. This class gets the A. All right.
There you go.
You are right. This is the same farm. It's actually the Hart Ranch, which is down here in Barber County, Kansas. All right down here on the Oklahoma border. And what we're looking at, and if you look really carefully, you can see there's sort of this basin here and this basin here, kind of like a big flat plate. It kind of comes up almost like a bowl or something. And that farm is right in there. And what we're doing is we're looking at it maybe from little different angles, different times of year, obviously.
That one, just with the snow and stuff, is closer picture than this one.
Okay, so this one we're a lot closer to the farm. Good.
Because that one, because you can see the farm, you can't really see it on that one, and you can see it.
This one, you know, I almost feel like this is this,
Yeah.
which would get you sort of flipping around.
In the background on the bottom one, it looks kind of like that. Here in the top one.
Yeah, so these here would be sort of this stuff here. Okay, good.
Well, I think the one like on the bottom was more like
smooth, but the other one like more like hilly, like more like out there.
Okay, so this one looks a lot smoother because the snow is kind of holding all this, where this one you can really see the jaggedness of the earth. So those would be sort of differences in them. Great, you guys obviously were really critically thinking about this one, which is really good. Now I want to get into something a little bit different with this, to lead us into the next thing. And let's think about the mood of these two pieces. Okay? You know, if I say the mood, what do you think? Where do you think I'm kind of going with that? The sort of the emotions that you might tie with it.
Like calm and loud. Calm for the bottom one, loud for the upper one.
Okay, so this one could be really calm, and this one could be really loud, like that sun is almost shouting. Good. Any other thoughts with that? Yeah.
That the soy one could be like a little bit of sadness, and the green one could be hope.
Okay, sadness and hope. Did you have something here? Yeah.
The bottom one looks kind of relaxing, and then the top one like makes you kind of energetic.
Okay, relaxing, energetic, great. What you're picking up is sort of the moods of these two paintings, and that's where we really start to see some differences in them, don't we? Excellent. We also can think of some symbolism. And symbolism, if I asked you what the sun here symbolized, what would you say?
Spring.
Spring? New season? Yeah, that would be something to that sunrise. Summer. And we know this, I will show you, this is a sunrise. So would a sunrise and a sunset mean different things? Oh, what's a sundial? Good question. Okay. We noticed, some of you noticed that both of these sort of had big light sources in the center, right? So this one is from the sunrise. This one has a very, very thin layer of clouds. This is a winter scene with this thin clouds, and the clouds have a lot of ice in them. So the sun is right here, but can you see these two other sort of little circles? Those are the sundogs, or perihelia. And they are reflections of in the ice crystals of the sun. But let's go to that sunrise. Would a sunrise be a different symbol than a sunset?
Sunrise and coming up, and sunset and
Okay. And if it were a symbol for something, can you think of something it would be a symbol for?
Like the beginning of a new day.
A beginning and a
And
end, okay?
Is it true that when it's winter, the clouds actually have ice in them?
Yeah, well, the clouds can have ice in them even during the summer too. And it has to be just the right types of clouds, because they're up so high. You can go through, that's why sometimes in the summer we get hail. It's because it's so cold up there. Most of the time it will melt before it comes down, but sometimes it doesn't. So, but that thin layer of clouds is kind of like fog or smoke, and you can, you know, how car headlights would sort of be in that. Okay, so what we're going to do is, I know that you guys have been talking about some of these things because I see them up here on the wall. And in fact, I stole them from your wall last year. So we've got simile and metaphor, personification, that's an interesting idea. Alliteration, that's something poets would love, right? You could do that with your list of words, onomatopoeia, sound words, hyperbole, idioms, cliches. We had those majesty, the mountains are majestic. So what I want you to do is to take this painting right here. And I want you to use one idiom with it. And it can be any kind you want. If you want to do alliteration, you could take those descriptive words and have a whole bunch of them start with the same letter. You could do personification. Onomatopoeia. It could be a list of onomatopoeia words. You could use simile or metaphor. So everybody create one sort of piece of figurative language. This. something kind of cool and creative with it. Sort of thinking about observation and tying your observation into the language arts. Come up with something, because I'd like to share some of them. What's the difference between a simile and a metaphor?
One is like or as, the other one doesn't.
Okay, so the other one, you just take the like or as and make it is.
What's that little gray spot?
Right here?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. It's on here, or it's up there. I'm not sure it's in the painting. It's like bigger class. We'll see. Okay, who wants to share? They came up with. Back here.
Okay, cloud got mad at the earth and she ran a huge rainstorm crashing down on Earth.
Okay, so you have your storm as being female, okay, so personification, and some great sort of descriptive language in there. Good. Who else wants to share? Come on, guys, be brave. Did anybody come up with some onomatopoeia words for it? Who remembers what onomatopoeia is? What's onomatopoeia? Yeah, it's a word that sounds like, so like jingle. So even if you didn't, who can, let's just come up with a whole bunch of onomatopoeia words for this.
Crash and boom.
Crash and boom. What else?
Like a lightning shock, I don't know. It's,
Which could be a crack
yeah.
instead of a crash. I always think of that game you play as a little kid where you make the rainstorm and you start out really soft and it gets louder and louder and louder and louder. It's all that rain kind of does. What does it smell like when there's a thunderstorm?
To me it smells like grass.
Okay, so wet grass and dirt. Have you ever smelled ozone from a lightning storm?
What's that?
It's kind of a chemically smell. Who else has one that they came up with for this? Okay.
Mother Nature was starting to give the rage in the storm on the phone.
Okay, so Mother Nature. So we've kind of got that Mother Nature angry, so there's definitely an emotion going here.
The clouds are as
Okay, dark as night. Okay, so we've got a simile there. Good. Anybody else?
I think the earth was like really, really dry. It didn't get a lot of rain in a while, so the earth decided to help the earth so it could like grow like flowers and stuff.
Okay. So you're seeing this as instead of angry as more helpful. Is that rain being a good thing? Good. Okay, so a little bit different way of seeing it. Okay. So let's just think a little bit about what we've been doing here today. So, communication. What's been going on communication-wise here today? What have you guys been doing?
thinking.
You have been thinking, and you've been doing critical thinking. Figuring out that was just sort of the same farm from a different point of view. That was great critical thinking, okay? So you've been doing some great critical thinking. You've been looking at things in a new way, linking subjects, okay? We're linking language arts and art and science with those attributes. What else can you see happening up here that we've been doing? Oh, yeah.
Using our creativity.
Yeah, very creative. The words you were coming up with are creative. The storytelling was creative.
Working together to reach a goal.
Yeah. Every time you work together and communicate the way you are, you're feeding off of each other's ideas. Notice how when one person thought about the birds and the feathers that we started trying to really figure out what types of feathers might be there, okay? So we were using each other's minds, we were collaborating. And that scientists do a lot of that to solve problems. What else? Let's think a little bit about just language arts and being a writer. And you could be any type of writer. You could be writing poetry, you could be a journalist, what? You could be a songwriter, you could be writing ads for TV. How would you use some of these things that we did today? Think if you were writing ads for TV. What could this process really help you? Yeah.
Oh, make a commercial.
Yeah, make a commercial. How could this help you with making a commercial?
It will help persuade the person watching or reading to buy the product, which can cost more money.
Okay, your creativity, your descriptiveness might make it seem more appealing. You could use your critical thinking to think, why would somebody want to buy this or not want to buy it, and solve that problem.
Like a movie, you could make it to like help a movie.
Okay, and movies are a great example of how the visual and the words can go together. It's really important, isn't it? Some things you can see visually, sometimes you need words. When you have them both together, that's a really great thing. It's more powerful, isn't it? Good. Any other ideas? Okay, which piece was your favorite? Go back. Who had a favorite piece?
The sunrise.
What?
The sunrise.
The sunrise?
Oh, the sunrise.
The sundogs? I love that sundogs. It's kind of an interesting piece. It really makes me think, yeah.
Storm.
You like the storm?
Still water.
Yeah, that was a beautiful one too. Yeah, Becky.
The blackbirds.
The blackbirds. It's a fun one for storytelling. I'm going to tell you one thing that I noticed in this piece. Let me look back here. See if you can figure out what's going on there.
It's a tree and it looks like it got pulled out of the ground.
Okay, so this looks like a tree pulled out of the ground here.
Down its roots and it's about ready to break.
Okay.
Indians.
Indians? Where do you see that makes you think that back here?
Yeah.
Like horses maybe a little bit? Yeah. There's something going on back here. I'm not sure what it is.
Animals running around and they might have scared the birds.
Mm-hmm.
The storm scared all the animals into the find shelter.
Oh, okay, good. So maybe that back part has a storm and it's scaring the animals. Good.
Maybe somebody's hunting.
Could be somebody hunting, good. So I think you guys, I didn't really ask you to kind of, you had a lot more ideas, didn't you, than you were telling me?
Like the birds migrating.
Maybe the bird's just migrating, yeah. It reminds me a lot of this time of year. Okay, so here's the deal, is on Wednesday, my friend Mrs. Richards, who also works at the museum, is going to come and see you in science class. Okay, so you're going to be using some of the things in science class that we use today, especially some of this stuff here, but also the observation skills and doing a little bit more drawing in science class, okay? So keep these things in mind for when she comes on Wednesday. And what we're going to do is up here at the front, and can I get my light lady? I'll turn the lights on so people aren't falling. And what you're going to do is to put whatever hour in science, we've got 6th hour, 5th hour, 4th hour, 3rd hour, and 1st hour. We don't have any yet, but we will have some. So go ahead and put.
Yeah, first hour, come up first and sit down, you're on the left.
Yeah, let's start a new pile.
There you go.
Perfect.
First hour over there. First hour, Mr. Neal.
Nobody saw it.
All right, we'll take a minute to take a look. Hey, Lloyd, ladies and gentlemen, you can be disruptive even though we're in transition here.
Okay.
Second period, please come up. Second pile. Hey, Steve, would you make sure your first period pile was
I'm gonna
second
do-
period or third period people? Third period people, come bring them up. No, it's you. Fourth period people. This is third period.
And everybody look at that cloud one more
There's the
time.
third pile. That's why I was.
To me, that's an angry face.
Fourth period people.
Okay, she saw it, she saw it, she saw it. She just hadn't said it. She said it right away.
I said the
Got it
cloud was
here.
angry,
Hi.
so.
Really? It's an angry
face? It's an angry face.
There you go.
No, it looks like a
Fourth period's the third pile.
Mr. Peterman,
Her anger, she got it, she just hadn't said it.
I did.
Like,
Fifth period science. Come on up.
yeah, and she
Oh, wait.
said it was angry. You see, he's got like the eyes. And the
Well, let's come up. Fifth period, you're in the fourth pile. Come on up. Fifth period, you're the fourth pile. Fifth period. Who else has fifth period science?
Just major.
All right. Sixth period science. Please bring it up. You're the last pile. Okay, and then it's spotted.
Thanks, good job.
When you go back to the
Where everybody else
second
did.
I think you're just one.
Did everybody get different colors?
Yeah, I got a whole bunch.
Did the bell ring?
No. I got purple.
All right, I'm gonna count to 5,
I got
2, 3, 4, 5. We are going to be using these super skills this week. When you're going to be using them Wednesday in Mr. Neal's class, and then all week in here as we discuss as we go to our hangouts and seminars, talking about the 4 short stories we did this week. So we want to make sure we're improving our communication and being clear when we talk, using evidence. We want to be able to work together to come up with unique ideas. We have to have critical thinking in order for them to be unique and not just say the obvious. And then we need to be creative. We want to try new ways of viewing the literature that we read. All right? Question?
Were we supposed to write a story about King Arthur?
No. We read King Arthur.